Sweet. Good evening. We're live. One sec. All right. All right. Oh, good evening. Welcome back. Take that glass for you. Yeah, you're welcome. I'd like to welcome everybody back to the second episode of Federico Live. Neil's in the house to join us this evening. Neil.
Hello, everyone.
Neil. This is our second episode of Federico Live, and what Federico Live is about, it's about bringing complementary education to the masses, as well as, getting the opportunity to share the message of Federico and Federico Advanced and what we're doing and what we're all about. So Federico Live is airing every first and third Thursday, and you can catch the pre-show at 5:30 p.m. and then we go live at 6 p.m. and you can catch Joshua Flowers, Mr. Josh XO with Weapon of Choice every second and fourth Thursday. And then the fifth Thursday, for those odd months that have 5 Thursdays in them, like I said, it's pint night, but we didn't do that last week.
We're gonna get wasted.
We're gonna get wasted, right. Josh is one pint wonder over there, so that's it.
I'm a cheap date.
This is a cheap date. We'll do pint and taco night. So the idea of the evening tonight is I got a lovely model here. Her name is Stacy, and Stacy's been coming to me in the salon and has been a friend for how long, Stacy?
Long time.
Long time. Probably, how long?
I don't know. Over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
Yeah.
Over 10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So before we begin on Stacy, big thanks to Mr. Jacob. You want to show your face for us again, Jacob? I could use one of those blot, 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 blot. Jacob for doing...
Prettifying.
Yep, beautifying, prettifying the makeup on Stacy and getting us prepped. And he's been doing the makeup for us. He did our first episode. He's been doing Josh's episodes. And my assistant, Ashley, who's no longer here, for helping me in getting my color prepped.
She just died.
Yeah, exactly. Color prepped, and Stacy blowing out, because the idea tonight is to go through a haircut, and I'll explain that a little bit more, but it's going to be some more dry cutting techniques and some finishing techniques. So, but before I begin talking about Federico Advanced, we've got some upcoming classes I just want to fill you in on and share with you. We have the date of February, I can get my calendar out here. I go February 17th, Andrew Carruthers. Andrew's going to be out from Utah doing a Modern Foundations class with us. And then following after that, in March, we have Arojo coming out. We have Nick and like 8 of his team members, if not more, doing a rather large show in our theater space, which is about 5,000 square feet. And they're going to do a 45-minute to an hour-long presentation, which is going to include runway models, catwalk show, and then some demonstrations on stage. My salon team, AJF, will be opening up that show, and we'll be doing like a 4-minute model presentation kind of thing, kind of sharing our insights and inspirations, right? Insights and insanity, huh? So yeah, that's that's March the 2nd, March 3rd, and March 4th, Nick and his team will be here the following day doing a series. I think they're up to like 10 different breakout classes. You've got to get on Arojo's website, or you can check out ajfsalon.com. In our blog section, we have a list of all the classes you can take, and it's pretty much anything under the sun you'd ever want to take, from scissor cutting to razor fundamentals to razor advanced to hair painting to editorial styling, American wave, the success symposium with Nick, to some fusion hair cutting, which I'll be teaching, which is utilizing razor and the scissor all in one at the same time. Not really. So anywho, to move on. Sorry. Josh is sweating me out already. Yeah. I got a dry mouth.
Yeah, look at me. I'm going to start firing off strobes here any second now.
Anyway, yeah. All right. So into the cut. A little bit about the cut. So, like I say, Stacy's been a client for quite some time. And, Stacy is what I would say, you know, I stand behind the chair 3 days a week still in the salon, is pretty much about, you know, 80% of what I see, and we probably all see walking into the salon, which is, you know, long hair, but she's got long, beautiful hair. I know there's a lot of them that come in that have long hair, and it's just really not that pretty. So long, beautiful hair with some sort of like layering technique through it. And they're like, I want to change. That's not the case today, but I want to change, but don't touch the length. So you're like, all right, so what can I work through the interior of the haircut to really begin to, you know, offer the change? Really, you know, my feeling is when it's long, obviously the layer, you know, it might be round, or I can go flat, or I can go into a concave technique. Really, whatever I do to the layering, unless I'm gonna like come in up off the crown and crop it down to like, you know, 3 or 4 inches and bring it back to like, you know, the 80s, and then have it go down to, you know, the extreme long length to the mid back, they're not really gonna notice maybe the change of the layers too much. You may notice like the way that the hair moves, it's a little bit more free, it's a little bit more seamless, if you will. But really what they notice is like what's really going on around the face. So that's where I'll really pay extra attention to detail and really pay mind to like, you know, whatever maybe like the framework is right around the face. Because obviously, you know, a client, as we all do in the mirror every morning, we're staring and what we see is right here, unless you're super cool and you've got one of those 3-way mirrors and you're checking out your profile. But I think that's probably like maybe 2% of them out there. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my attention to detail tonight is going to be like what's around the face. And Stacy has told me that, you know, it's a little heavy right through here. She wants to change it up a little bit. She, you know, she's got short layers through there right now. They are sitting a little bit heavy, but there's really like not a whole lot I can do in there other than bring it up a little bit and really begin to lighten it up. And what that'll do though is it'll allow the hair just to like push back and move a little bit differently for her. So she's putting her hands through the hair has a little bit more freedom to kind of live, if you will. The prep that we've done on the hair tonight though, when Stacy came in, believe it or not, I have to share your secret of how
Sure.
sparkly you are. She's pretty sparkly through her regrowth, being that she's got a really high concentration of gray. And yeah, and she's probably honestly about 75% or more. So we did well-deserved after a couple of kids, all right? So we did a root formulation of a 5N, that's a really intense natural level 5. No, a 5NN, so a double natural series of a level 5 mixed equal parts with a 5 like matte brown. So something that's kind of cool but rich in tone with 20 volume, and did a root touch up. And then she had some really old light kind of painted pieces through the mids and ends that are still living in there. And those got a little dark the last time around, and the tone was a little off. So we did a really quick color remover over the bowl at the mid shafts and through the ends to kind of like pop those back up and out. And I did a toner of a product called Illumin by Goldwell, which was I think a gold natural at level 6, just to offer that, you know, kind of sheen back through the hair. All right, we've blown, where's my words at? We have blow dried it out. We have blow dried it out this evening with some frizz control products, and you know, just wrapped the hair out with a flat brush, then came back in with my favorite polishing brush, which is made by Vess, and it is a oval, and I call these an oval nylon bore mix. So it's got the long tufts of the nylon, which puts tension on the hair, and the bore is designed to polish and smooth. This is an excellent brush. It's a great finishing brush if you're like a updo artist, which I am not, or it's a great brush just to polish the hair out smooth and straight. You know, a lot of people like to spend about 2.5 times the amount of this brush on like a Mason Pearson. But honestly, in my honest opinion, this brush beats the hell out of a Mason Pearson. Why? Because it's made in Japan, and I feel like that the Japanese make it more for their hair texture. So the bore, I think personally, is a little bit more coarse, and it doesn't break down as quickly as a Mason Pearson brush, which is designed in England, and the bore in the brush is a little bit more of a finer texture.
The English bores are kind of snooty.
The English bores are a little snooty, but you can pick up these vest brushes off of hairbrain.pro, which is one of our proud sponsors of this show. So we try to really support HB Pro in utilizing the tools that we spend our endless amounts of money on. Yeah, stories about that later. So yeah, Hairbrain Pro for that vest brush. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'll spin her around so you can get an idea of the length and the amount of layering that's sitting in there. Thank you, Josh, pulling back. So there's her length. I mean, it's pretty long, right? It's definitely sitting into below the mid back, below the bra strap, and she wants to keep as much length as possible, but moving it around, you can see the amount of layering that's living through there now. I'm gonna layer through the crown a bit more and continue that layer through. I wanna definitely keep her perimeter line rather strong. I don't wanna layer down into it because I don't want it to get too weak. That's just not kind of what I'm into right now. So all my layering will be from a high occipital up into the crown area, and I'll work with a concave technique, and I'm going to begin working vertically from the center of the back of the head and then pivoting out from that, utilizing mild points of over direction so I increase in length as I begin to move towards the face. So it'll come up and I'll go into an inverted or a concave finger position, so I will be shorter in the crown, getting longer out towards my corners. And then as I move into the face, I'll change my technique. I'll come back up in from the front and I'll work more of a round shape, but still concave. So collapsing out the interior, working into my perimeter lengths. Obviously, we have half as much hair on the sides as we do to the back because of the way the hairline grows up and around. So most of the layering through the top is gonna really sit just at the parietal ridge and above. And then I'll come back in and use a couple freehand techniques to open it up. So the idea, oops, sorry about that. The idea of the haircut tonight is all to be cut dry, which I love to do in the salon if the opportunity arises. And the opportunity arises to me is when somebody wants to keep their hair, you know, long, and they want their layers cleaned up, or they may want to offer, you know, a few more layers into it. Because I can really see how the layer is going to sit and live, you know, once I cut it in a dry state. And I can see how it's going to begin to move and how it's going to blend into the remaining length. And this is also a great time to pass my client off to my assistant so I can check up on emails and have a bite to eat, you know, and have them prep the hair, polish it out, smooth and dry, and I can come back in and whip out the cut, and that's that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try not to use clips because I've got a really nice finish on it. Just subdivide my sides from my back, and please feel free, you can comment in below any questions, concerns, regards, you suck at them, whatever it might be.
No, you got a good compliment. I had my hair styled for a shoot, and the girl was like, "Your hair, I love the way it's cut." She's like, "It's awesome."
See, I already got a compliment.
Really?
Already?
Yeah,
Wow,
thanks.
nice.
And or you can tweet them in, right? You can tweet questions at Federico ADV. ADV is short for Advanced, ADV. So Federico ADV on Twitter. So going in with the large teeth of my comb just to section it out. Like I said, I'm going to utilize a nice vertical subsection. I'm going to bring all this up, and really what's only concerning me is everything that's sitting at that kind of high occipital. Yeah. These are the weirdest pants I've ever bought. There's no back pockets. They have back pockets, but they're stitched shut.
Oh.
I feel naked not having my wallet in there. It's really kind of odd.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, no. So coming back up, I'm gonna bring it right up off the round of the head. Like if I were to distribute this out at like 90 from the shape of the head and cutting a round or a uniform shaped layer. And what I've done is up, out, up off the round. And I always say a good way to find the round of the head for those of you who are learning still and trying to figure it out is take your comb, place it flat to the shape of the head, right? Like sticking out, and this will always tell you your point of distribution. And then I'm coming up and out, kicking my finger angles, so I'm going to be shorter into the interior, getting long, or shorter into the interior, getting longer into the exterior. And this is a great technique because you can vary the amount of layerings by just shifting your finger angle, obviously a little bit more extreme or less extreme. And then I'm going in with the tips of my shear and just utilizing a soft point cutting technique, keeping a nice line on the hair, but just soft, all right? I'm not like shattering it out too much where it's extremely diffused, but it's definitely gonna be so when I drop it, everything should just blend in really nice and seamlessly through. And that's how I really like my layers to sit, is to sit rather seamlessly. I know Josh has a good joke about the 3-layered haircut, right?
Yeah.
I've always hear about,
They're not layers, they're steps.
They're not layers, they're steps. So now I began to work pivotally off of that center crown, coming back in with the fine teeth of the comb, and just kind of drop everything below the occipital. Really nice combing, bring that hair up, find my previous line, which is sitting here. And there's my new section, and I'll come back in and point through it. Drop it down. So there's some very structured techniques within this haircut, and then there'll be a little bit of freehanding as well. And I'll show you some channeling techniques as well as some back cutting techniques. And what you'll probably notice with me when I do these shows and I'm cutting hair, everything below, I won't, it's crazy. I won't be like showing set haircuts per se, because haircuts come and go. I like to just incorporate techniques, you know, through it all. That way you can utilize the technique for multiple haircuts. So this little point cutting, I mean, we do this all day, every day, but I think the big thing I can share with you about point cutting is when you go in, you close the scissor on your way out, 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 out. So closing the scissor as you're exiting out for 2 reasons. 1, it's gonna leave a softer end result. 2, if you do happen to catch your finger, it's gonna be much less of a severe cut on your skin if you're closing the scissor as you're exiting out rather than going down and chomping into it. So spin her around, coming up, the shape of the head, previous design line, guideline. Cut through it, okay? I'm still breaking these scissors in. What was it the first time around was the first time I ever got to really use them. These are, I know there's people wondering, because I know you're all a bunch of hair gurus like Josh and I, but the Knit QX is probably by far the best scissor I've ever bought, and you can definitely pick them up off of HB Pro. It is a beautiful, beautiful scissor, and they're the good ones, meaning that
Not the bad batch that I got.
the bad batch.
Still mad about it.
So now, let's see. I've got her left side kind of finished. You can see where that layer is beginning to sit now and how it's just kind of shimmering through that bottom edge. And it sits rather seamlessly. There's not a really strong point of when it's beginning nor ending. And that's the great thing about working like a concave layer as well, is it really like dismisses out any point of reference of where that layer begins and ends if done well. All right, I'll spin back around. Oops, sorry, once again. And working pivotally off that center. And I like a long hair cutting comb when I'm working long hair, especially for dry, so that way I can kind of pick up that entirety of the section. So bringing it up, find my design, or my guideline, pick this back up, need a little bit of that previous. There we go. There it is. Coming back in. Cutting down onto it. Giving it a healthy trim. So since the last time I think Josh and I have been out, we've been down to what, the ISSE show, which was a couple weeks ago at this point. Josh shot a lot of great imagery, still footage. You shoot any video? Or did Katie shoot all the video?
Katie shot all the video.
Katie shot all the video. So if you check out, you know, Hairbrained, or if you follow Josh on Facebook, and you can see a lot of it on Federico Advanced Facebook as well. There's a lot of great inspiring images of, you know, a lot of the big guys that were out there. You know, Charlie Price, Orojo, Sassoon, obviously. Who else did you nab?
Sassoon, I got a video coming soon too. I got Sassoon coming, I gotta get through that. And then
you got the
made an
Teals.
awesome video you cutting on the Orojo booth.
Cutting on the Orojo booth, yeah. I was stoked. I got the opportunity to cut with at the booth, do a little demo. Got the chance to share the message of Federico Advanced to the masses on behalf of Nick and team, which was really cool.
You had a good crowd going too.
I had a good crowd.
Good crowd.
This is a baby blues, man.
Just sucks them right in. Not a black hole, it's a blue hole.
Oh man. Continuing on. My last section on this back side here. So bringing it up. And really when you're cutting dry hair, prep is key in the blow dry. Meaning, like, I'm a firm believer, like, you know, you can be an excellent hair cutter, but you can be a shitty like finisher and your work's only gonna be like subpar. You could be a really shitty hair cutter, but an excellent finisher, and your clients will probably never notice how shitty the haircut is until they go home to like finish it out, excuse the language. But you know, the idea in learning is to do both like greatly. But you really need to pay, you know, great attention when you're like cutting dry hair in the finish, making sure that your root direction is all like obviously seamless, everything's going the same direction, that you're polishing it out is very consistent and flat. I did round brush a little bit just through this top interior section because I know that Stacy's wants a little bit more movement through there, and that round brush right through here will allow me, as I begin to cut through it, how it's going to really begin to react and push away from the face. So prep is key. All right, so now that I finished out the back, I'll come through to the front. I'm going to start with just, you know, more of my technique, and then we'll go in and do some finishing, being just different like texturizing techniques through it. So I'm going to work on some soft diagonal back shaped subsections, and tell me if I should spin here. That's pretty good. You can get my point of distribution. I'm just going to come right up off the crown here and work rather flat at this point. Flat meaning my finger position is like parallel with the ceiling or the floor below. Drop that down. Like I said, most of the layering through this top is going to be just from the parietal and above. Pulling this forward. I just want to make sure I'm getting all these little layered bitty ends off. Get that out. And I'm going to kind of work right and left, left and right a little bit, just for balance. I think the last time I did this, my wife told me, she goes, "You're a heavy breather."
All up at the grill.
Right, you're a heavy breather. I'm like, thanks. So I had to go home and watch it, right? And I'm like smacking, yeah, a heavy breather. If you only knew.
Wait, through your mic, you mean? Like watching this?
Through my mic, yeah, watching it.
Oh, I thought you meant doing this haircut on her.
Oh, no. I mean, like through the mic, like Darth Vader or something, you know? little bits there and there. So now what I'm going to begin to do is just begin to see how that layer is beginning to sit, which is nice. It's kind of this, you know, coming right off the corner of the mouth, definitely above the cheekbone a bit, and sweeping off the face. You know, I don't want to get this layer so short and then try to transition it into this extreme length, because one, I feel like it's maybe just a little dated, as well as it's just not, you know, the look of what I'm going for here this evening. And now I'm going to come through. I'll begin to shift my finger angles up and out, because I got definitely more length to work through. And I'm going to do this a little bit different. I'm going to come from the back side, bring it forward so I can work real extreme. Shift this up and out.
Shift her towards.
About here?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, even your camera phobia.
You know, get the back. So that, whoop. And there. And what I'm going to do is something real extreme and just kind of cut little bits and then slide up and out, just to keep that fluid and running through. Good. And you know, as I'm cutting, I'm always just kind of pushing the hair and beginning to see how it's beginning to like sit and live from that point forward. And yeah, all right, I'll reposition myself for this. You got my back for a second. Spin her out. And there. It's hot in here, man.
I'm just thinking of the heavy breathing.
The heavy breathing. It's hot. It's hot and there's heavy breathing. Those lights are hot.
It's not from the halogen, it's from my breathing.
It's from, right? Okay. That's great. So those first three sections, what I began to do is just to begin to work this top layer, which you're seeing that's just kind of moving off the face and sweeping back. Ooh, yeah, photo shoot time.
Yeah.
Woo! The haircut just got better.
Wind makes everything.
All right. Cool. That's excellent.
That's so nice.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to come back through and then just start a new layering technique through here, so I don't wind up with a super short amount of layers running through the top part, and just connect soft concave, working back, and I'll probably run right into that previous back section at this point. Everything's coming up and forward. There we go. And then just a wee bit out of here. Okay. And we'll come back into the opposite side, knock out the last two subsections. It's like hot, like, you know, when I'm like trying to flick my scissors around, they're like getting stuck. Like my hands are all funny.
Okay, that just means you have to use less product.
Yeah, exactly. Natural oils.
Natural oils, dude.
No questions coming through this evening. Any comments, concerns, questions?
No questions so far. Yeah, Tina Nelson says, love the idea of point cutting instead of a solid line. Love that you can't see the layers. By the way, her hair is so shiny and pretty.
Thank you, Tina Nelson. Yeah. You know, typically in the salon, if I cut something wet, you know, depending on what I'm doing, I may go and establish my shape and my technique. If I'm cutting with the scissor, going in and utilizing the flat of the scissor, cutting it rather blunt. But after I blow dry it, I generally always come back in and point cut back into it. So this whole thing being dry, it's going to point cut the whole way through. Like I said, so that way everything sits extremely soft and I can see how it's going to live right then and there. So I'm going to come back in now and do a little channeling through the front, where Stacy said these front bits are just sitting a little heavy, and you can definitely see like that's sitting real heavy right there. So we want to loosen that up. And I changed my scissor to a dry hair cutting scissor, which is made by Mizutani. It's the Acro Leaf. These things are kind of cool because they're designed just primarily for channeling through the hair, back cutting into the hair. They won't cut a straight line. If you try to go in and cut a straight line with them, you'll just push all the hair out of the scissor because of the design of the blades. So first come through, I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to come in with just some little channeling and sliding through the hair. So I'm not fully closing the scissor, I'm just closing it as I'm channeling through, but it's never fully obviously closing. It's just closing very minimally, cut a little bit, push that hair, see how light it is, pick up the next bit, and at this point I work, you know, rather visually. So I'm coming down flat to the shaft of the hair, being my approach from the scissor is not coming in at a heavy angle. It's almost coming down, and I'm running the scissor almost parallel just down the shaft of the hair. So I'm not taking out any chunks, just taking out some little seamless bits. The idea is just to create a very soft interior layer through here, so the theory of short hair to push long hair, that this will lighten it up as well, help just kind of keep this back and away and off the face. And I'll work back and forth, right and left.
By the way, if you guys have questions, you can go ahead and type them right into the YouTube comments, and if it's within our ability to answer them, we might.
Yes, we might. Stacy's hair texture actually is really interesting. She has a, her background is Greek and Italian, so it's fine but wiry, but a lot of it, if that makes any sense. So if it were to air dry, it's got some definite wave to it, but it's got, and you can kind of see through the blow dry some of it. I mean, it's very like almost wiry. So to blow it out and polish and smooth it, it's a little bit of work, but it's well deserved work, because once it gets smooth and flat and you smash down that cuticle layer, it looks absolutely beautiful. It's just like super shiny. It's a really nice head of hair to blow dry out. It's like gratifying if you do a good blow dry on it. I like the way that those layers are beginning to sit and move. Something very like salon wearable, salon ready. You know, that's what we, you know, I think most of us probably watching this evening do all day, every day, is work in a salon. I don't know if Tim Hartley's watching this, you know, obviously trying to learn to cut hair from me, and if he is, like, what's up, Tim, right? No, but, so, like I say, like my approach to these evenings are to show you techniques that you can use all day, every day in the salon, and try to do things that, you know, I think that your client and consumer may like. Because at the end of the day, I could show you some really like twacked out haircut, and I've been there and I've done that, but what are you going to really get out of it?
We have a question from Adrienne Lopez.
Adrienne.
And
yes.
She would like to know if you could do this technique with a razor.
On dry hair, I would not recommend it. I would not recommend cutting a dry hair with the razor. It's honestly just going to destroy the hair. You can definitely, on a wet head of hair, I'm a huge razor cutter with the plie. I would go in, I'd point cut into this with the plie if I was to be doing this technique wet. So you can do it definitely on a wet head of hair. Dry hair, my professional recommendation is no.
I don't know, it sounded more like a challenge than a question.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, like, hey, could you?
Well, then go get the razor.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Okay, no, it was a question.
You'll hear lots of, you know, lovely sound. So just kind of pushing the hair around.
Are there any textures you would do it on?
That I would not do it on?
That you would do it on?
With the razor?
Dry.
What, the razor dry?
Yeah.
Dry razor?
No, for all textures.
You know what, man? Like, in my doings of utilizing a razor on dry hair, maybe a little bit on like men. Like I'll do like a razor over comb technique to like soften up the edges, like after I scissor over comb it. I just like, yeah, I just feel like it shreds up the hair too much. You can just see it, like it gets white and beady. Razors are designed, like in my philosophies of cutting hair, to be utilized on, you know, wet hair, damp hair.
What about wigs or extensions?
Oh,
Or do you not touch
extensions.
those?
I don't touch those, but extensions, I see lots of guys, women cutting extensions with a razor. Because when you're cutting extensions, the one thing I know about cutting extensions, you don't ever cut a blunt line. Everything's like extremely diffused, either by channeling through it with a razor, or scissor, or razoring through it. That way you get that soft blend through. So, looking at this, like I said, I want everything just to sit really nice and soft and seamless, looking at how those layers flow. And really the fan's nice because it's pushing the hair around. It's going to show me like how the hair is going to sit if she were to walk out into a windstorm. No.
Well, it just makes the haircut look much more.
It does. I mean, it looks like we're on like, you know, photo shoot here, which is great.
Feels good.
Yeah, feels good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start with just a little bit of back cutting now. And I'll do a little back cutting through here just to blend in some of the weight and the length into the ends. So the back cutting technique is I'm going to open the scissor and I'm going to go in with a C shape with my hand, and as I go in I'm going to close the scissor but never fully. It's going to start out open and begin to close, so it's about midway closed, and it's all about a nice scooping C-shaped motion. And what that'll do is it'll remove density out of the hair but keep the length, and it should be very nice seamless motion. So I'm going to start into the mid shafts and just start working through it very lightly, and I'm looking through the hair to where I see that it needs to have weight taken out, meaning I'm looking for the transparency of the hair from dark to light, kind of like the same thing as if you're scissor over combing. What makes excellent scissor over combing is you're looking for the different colorations within the hair from dark to light. So let's see if I can show you by example. If I pull this section out, I'm beginning to look, I see really thick and dark through here, it gets quite light through here, and dark back through here. So what I'll do is I will back cut into this bit here to try to match up the textures that I see through here, and then I'll back cut back through here. That's the idea. So now as I'll drop that out, don't want to cut, and I want to cut. So I'll come through and just do some mild back cutting through there. I'll reposition myself. And then work down into that one last bit. And when I back cut, I work very conservatively. I don't want to pull out more hair than I ever like anticipated to. You know what I mean? You can always go in and take more hair out, but it's really hard to put it back in. And it goes back into like this haircut. It's not about what I'm taking off as far as length. It's more about what I'm leaving, and it's about, you know, just the changing of the internal shape a bit. Yeah. Cut down through it. Rather heavy right through here, so we'll cut into this bit. You gotta check out Josh next week. Josh will be on Weapon of Choice. For those of you just joined in, the second and the fourth Thursday of every month, sharing his techniques, some cutting. Do you know what you're doing next week, Josh?
I think I'm doing a Larry Bob thing.
A Larry Bob thing? Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
Non-stop.
Bob, 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 and Bob.
We have a couple comments.
Okay.
Our first comment is from Joshua Mission.
I know Josh. Hey, Josh. What's up, Josh?
We hung out with him at ISO last week, and he says, tuning in live from Atlanta, Sharius Salon. Great work, guys. Get some. ... And Adrian Lopez again, also watching in the South, Hattiesburg, is that Mississippi? What's MS?
MS? I think it's Mississippi.
I think that's Mississippi. What do I know? I'm a dumb American.
Dumb American. I'm Californian. Thanks, Josh, for tuning in.
You're welcome.
And Adrian from Mississippi, very much so.
We're probably totally wrong.
Where, Adrian, you correct us wherever you're from, buddy.
You know, in all the states, I get always confused with the M's. Can't remember what the region.
What is there, Mississippi,
Missouri,
Minnesota? It's Minnesota State.
Yeah, they're all like M's and I's.
Minnesota. All right, so before I finish up, I'm just gonna get a little, this is some Shine Lux oil, about 2.5 pumps, really nice, light. And we go head back, if you will. I'm gonna work this through, because obviously my hands working through the hair is definitely began to make it a little like staticky, if you will. You turn the lights out. And now what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna add a little bit more. The Shine Lux oil is super great, super light. Can't really get too heavily handed on it.
It is Mississippi.
Thanks, Adrian.
Yeah, look at us, smarty pants.
Mississippi. All right, head back.
And I tell you guys that are watching at home, the camera does not do this justice. That hair is like super shiny. It's like glowing.
Glowing.
Feels much better.
So, it's kind of looking at the lengths. I'm looking at these layers. I'm still a little heavy here. I'm getting a little bit not, gonna cut into that a little bit more. Where's that scissor? Here we go.
And we have a comment from the Matt Spec. So stoked I stumbled onto your Facebook about tonight's webinar. North Bay area here.
North Bay.
North Bay?
North Bay, Cali, like the Bay Area, San Francisco, North Bay.
Yeah, unless it's Green Bay.
No, is it North Bay? If you're in North Bay, you should come out and join us for some
come hang out.
education classes, or drive up for a day and hang out. Absolutely.
Yeah, Matt Spec.
Something that I'm stoked for is this Tuesday we've got Garrett Markinson
Yeah.
and Darren Brasford coming up from Southern California. Super cool guys. I got to meet them both finally at the ISSC show, and they're going to share what they're about and do a little homeroom inspiration. And then Josh and I, and then the two of them are going to do a collaborative video that'll be put out probably by the end of next week. So that's a cool thing about Hairbrained is I met this guy. Josh through Hairbrained.
We met each other.
Met each other.
It's like a single site for hairdressers.
Totally.
Yeah, hothairdressers.com was taken.
I'm lonely and bored. The other hairdressers in my city suck.
Yeah.
No, that's horrible to say.
No, but I mean, really,
Yeah.
like if you're in a city with a lot of crappy hairdressers,
And you need some inspiration.
yeah, you can just go on there and ask questions
Yeah.
and stuff. It's pretty cool.
So, yeah, I'm looking.
I gotta answer a question from the Max Spec. What camera are we using? Just a $100 Logitech. I think it's a C300 or something like that.
It's a great little camera.
Yeah.
I was blown away with like the clarity of picture from like rewatching it.
It's the most expensive Logitech on Amazon.
There you go. $100 though, well worth it,
Yeah,
right?
no, it's really good. Real low.
Real good.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this cape off of Stacy, and then she's got a smock on under there. And what I always like,
Her face a little bit.
yes, we'll dust off her face.
All right, close your eyes. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Obviously, I'm not a makeup artist. Yeah.
Thanks. And Stacy, actually drop your head back real quick. I'm going to give it a little bit of some Primp spray, which is the nicest light workable hairspray, which will keep any little weird little frizzy bits down and give it a little bit of texture through the layers.
We have a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Max Spec is from California.
Cool.
That's what I think.
Come up and join us.
Adrian Lopez
Yeah.
wants to know what brand of dry cutting scissor.
That was a Mizutani. It was the Mizutani Acro Leaf Wide.
And Joshua McMention, will you guys be at ABS or Chicago Arojo Expo?
Expo, I plan to be there. ABS is the Chicago show. It's happening the same time. I don't know if I'll be at the ABS show, but I'll be at Expo, I believe. You gonna be out there, Josh? Have you scanned that?
Yep.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, you're talking about that Josh.
That Josh. Oh,
It might be.
Josh.
Here.
Yeah, have you disrobed?
And the Max Bet, or Michael Steele says, can't see the video. Sorry. It's working fine for us.
Your ass out. You watch it. You watch it again tomorrow.
And the Max Spec, is there a list of dates, events for upcoming education, specifically session work or cutting?
Yeah, I'll share those with you in 1 second. So, kind of looking at Stacy's hair now. Like I say, it's super long, right? And then spin it around. She's got a really nice, soft, seamless layer working through her hair. And then spin back around. And then just some really soft, like frontal layering, just opening up the face. And I know Stacy generally wears her hair with like a little bit more body through it at times, like round brushed out. So all these layers through your hair will just kind of like melt and sit like seamlessly through. And yeah, and like I say, this is the haircut that, I mean, I see happen all day, every day in the salon. And I'm not here for the wow factor, I'm here for the education factor. So just a little bit of dry hair cutting techniques, something simple, maybe a different approach, the shift of the finger angle, the back cutting technique, and you can feel free to have a seat. And that's kind of like what I'll be sharing with you on Federico Live, as well as I'll be getting some of my other team members from AJF in here and doing some different kind of styling techniques, some barbering going on. So we'll have quite a wide array of platform of people coming up and, you know, sharing their things.
And we also have Mark Hevener.
Mark.
Tuning in. He said, me too, saw you on Twitter and tuned in. Good work, fellas. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. So, whose question was it about the calendar?
That was the Max Bet.
Max. Okay, Max, here we go. Yeah, man, next week, February 17th, we have Andrew Carruthers, which he'll be out from Utah. Andrew's like, works with Sam Vila, one of his right-hand men. He works for the award-winning salon Lunatic Fringe. They won NAHA, partnered up with Jake Thompson. He's partners with him out there. He's gonna be doing a Modern Foundations class on February 17th. That's our soonest one. March 3rd and 4th, we have Arojo out. On March 4th, Arojo is going to have out 9 to 10 different like series of breakout classes from all different kind of cutting, to perming, to styling, to coloring, to a success symposium, which is like, you know, inspiring you how to like redirect your business to make it more successful. That's March 4th. Then we drop out. We have actually a couple of months. We have a month off. Then we have Russell Mays coming out in May. Russell will be here May 19th. The next biggie will be Douglas McCoy in June. Douglas was here last year. He's a great dude. I'm excited to have him out. He's going to be doing some cutting, styling, and that'll be finished off with a photo shoot. And he's got a great kind of like building your own brand thing. You guys probably know Douglas. If not, you got to check him out at the House of Pop. He's doing something, you know, really cool out there for the industry right now. Then we have the Teals coming out in July, which are doing some really like crazy wig making classes for those of you guys that are editorial gurus. And then DJ Muldoon in September. we're locking down a date still, but we've been in conversation with DJ to be back out in September. So we've got a lot of great haircutting coming up. We also have some color coming down the pike in August. We have Demetrius, who works with Goldwell, and Sonia Brado from KMS, that they'll be out. So the way that Federico Advanced works, to share it with you, there is a calendar of events that these are Federico hosted classes, meaning that these are artists that I have gone out and sought out to bring in, like, you know, Douglas and let's go down, like Andrew and so forth. And then we also open the space up to companies if they want to come in and utilize the space, because I think we've all probably been to a class in a really shitty like hotel banquet room or a ballroom, and the amenities are not there. So we created this space that it's kind of like a Northern California independent education hub. So Goldwell or KMS or somebody may want to come in and utilize our space and rent it from us, but the facility is set up. You know, we've got multiple teaching areas, all the state of the art. You've got all the electrical you'll ever need, not popping a breaker, shampoo basins and so forth. So it's really geared towards a higher level of learning, if you will.
And maybe, I don't know, you might know this person, Sarah Federico says, Sienna says, hi daddy on repeat. She's your biggest fan. Say hi back.
Oh, hi Sienna. How's it going, baby? That's my wife and daughter there.
Once again, the Max Beck. Are these calendar dates on your website? Where can I sign up?
Excellent, that's a great question. So Max, what you can do is, Josh, can you type this into the comments?
Yeah.
You're gonna wanna call Leticia, Letty, we call her for short. Josh is gonna comment in below the phone number and her extension, and she can take a form of payment over the phone for any of these classes, as well as if you go on AJF Salon, which is our salon. A is in Apple, J is in Jack, F is in Frank. I'll have Josh post that up there as well. AJFsalon.com, and you go into our blog into the education area. We have not all of these classes listed. We're probably about 2 months out of just the upcoming events. And very soon we'll have them all up on federico.edu. But yeah, so yeah, you can definitely sign up for a class. We'd love to see you out here.
Do you know Letty's extension?
203.
Okay.
So Letty can handle all that. And let's see, you can Facebook message me on AJF Salon, or you can find me on my own personal Facebook, which is Adam Federico, and you can message me at any given time about any classes. I'll email you out the calendar as well to keep you up on it. 203.
Okay.
So to kind of wrap up, lovely model Stacy, long concave layered shape, all cut dry. So we used a vertical technique with a concave finger position, then began to work pivotally off of that. Everything was point cut through to keep everything very soft and seamless melting in. Then we came back up through to the front and worked off the front of the head in more of a round shaped technique. The point of over direction just coming right straight up off of 90 off of the frontal bone here, and began to incorporate my layer shape, opening up the face, and then began to work back into a concave technique through the last third, fourth, and fifth subsection on the sides. And then we use some back cutting to open up the layering and a little bit of channel cutting, if you will, just so everything sat very seamless and loose. So coming down, let's see. I got Federico Advanced. I've got Josh. I got to thank HB Pro, hairbrain.pro for supporting us, kicking us down tools. You got to buy tools because it's a tax write-off. I don't share what I buy as far as my tools go until tax season rolls around, and my wife's like, I need your tax write-offs. How much tools have you bought? I'm like, $1,600 and scissors. Oops, but the cat comes out of the bag, right? But yeah, it's an excellent tax write-off. So I appreciate Stacy. Like I say, she's been a longtime friend and client for hanging with us this evening. And
thank you.
Yeah, black on black never works, so I'll step out from the black. You got it. So thank you. And I think, Josh, you're going to pop up a few shots?
Yeah, I'm gonna pop up some shots. Did we talk about weapon of choice next week?
Weapon of choice, yeah, no, absolutely. Again, weapon of choice next week, the second and fourth Thursday. So tune in. You'll find Josh here cutting some hair, sharing his crazy insights and insanity. You know, 5:30 pre-show, 6 o'clock live start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At youtube.com/JoshXL.
You got it. And then Federico the first and third.
Yep.
So we flip-flop around. Cool. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, you
Wait,
jump
bye.
up.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.
Thanks.
Good work.